Hey guys, Retro Reviews here again with another video review, and man, I did it again. I am so sorry. I promise this won't happen anymore. Let me get this fixed. There we go, that's better. So yeah, this time we'll be taking a look at the final Supercharged Autobot brother, where we've got the Supercharged Sideburn. Now, I mentioned this before with both X-Brawn and Prowl, is that the story is that Ultra Magnus gave the Autobot brothers inadvertently a power boost, and when they got their power boost, their colors changed. Now, each of the three cars do have a little bit of a nod to a previous G1 character's color scheme. X-Brawn was Wheeljack, Prowl was Mirage, a little bit of a stretch on that one, but now Sideburn here is an homage to Hot Rod. And I hate red for this exact reason. I'm looking at the viewfinder on my camera. I know this will probably end up getting fixed when it gets posted on YouTube, but the red is throwing off my color, my white base, or the white balance on my camera really bad. This is actually coming off pink. So, one thing to point out before we get too far into the details about the differences between Sideburn and Super Sideburn is, if you notice on the front of the car, there is a silver Dodge Viper tampograph on it. So, that being said, to my knowledge, this is the first officially licensed vehicle. All of the other ones have been close approximations or had something changed to not be a direct car, with the exception of the original ones, the original Autobots from 1984 and 85, who were based off of the Diaclone toys, which ended up just using straight real-world vehicles, but those actually didn't have to fork over licensing for trademarks. They were still the real vehicles, but they were not licensed as the real vehicles, if that makes sense. This one being the first one that was actually licensed. And the story goes is that just X-Brawn and Prowl, they attempted to tweak a little bit of the designs for all three of the car brothers, so that way they were not nearly as blatantly ripping off the designs of the real cars. That's why X-Brawn's headlights look so different on his, because they're just little bulbs instead of full lights. And that was because that was to take away the fact that he is a Mercedes M-Class, but he doesn't necessarily have the trademark design of the headlights to make it so obvious. And unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, but silver lining here in a minute, Hasbro couldn't change enough of the Sideburn mold when they imported it over from Car Robots to Robots in Disguise. They couldn't get enough of it tweaked before Chrysler realized that, hey, Hasbro's using our designs to market a toy. We should say something to them about it. So, some legal process later after that, and now every mold of this toy that got released afterwards has to have the Dodge badge on the front and the packaging it says licensed by Chrysler LLC. Dodge Viper, licensed by Chrysler LLC. So, that being said, pretty much one of the first iterations of a licensed transformer, which we kind of take for granted nowadays because we have the movies and the studio series that give us Volkswagens and Camaros and Jeeps and all sorts of stuff that are actually officially licensed vehicles. And the licensing for the Dodge Viper did kind of break the mold and break ground for alternators to be released in the early mid-2000s. So essentially without Sideburn we wouldn't have had alternators. And now that that spiel is up with, go ahead, I'm going to bring in Sideburn here so we can get another side-by-side look on the coloration. Pretty much everything's again the same. We do still have the same exact flame patterns, except for this time instead of the metallic blue fade with a white border, it's a yellow and orange fade with a blue border, which looks really cool. And gold rims. And the entire vehicle shell of this thing is painted. It's actually this translucent, like just completely translucent piece like this. There's almost no shading to it. It's just straight up clear. It's that completely painted over. So that being said, it's a really nice car. Pretty much Sideburn being my first ever Transformer, the original one, the blue one, makes me just really love this car. So it's one thing I wanted to point out is just the whole, like the big thing is the fact that he is officially licensed. So that's a little bit of a funny little thing to say about it. So so now that we've gone over the vehicle mode and all its details, we'll go ahead and work into the transformation. Alright, now to get onto the transformation, pretty much the same exact thing as we saw before with Sideburn. First thing we're going to do is we are going to remove the exhaust pipe and remove the back bumper section. And we're going to fold down the front of the grille as well as open up the doors. Next, we're going to take these rear wheel panels and get them out of the way and fold them down. And fold the legs down. And just flatten the feet out. And then untab the top of the car. And we can go ahead and take this out. The dagger pistol. So then we got that taken care of, and then we're going to rotate the waist and then rotate this section around, rotate the waist back, take these panels and move them back and out of the way for now, and then go ahead and start rotating that out of the way and untabbing the arm from the chest and then folding it out and rotating it down and then rotating it back in, and also getting this panel rotated up into place. And straighten out the arm and then fold the chest down and rotate the head out at the same time. And now it's just a matter of getting everything lined up. And go ahead and clip the dagger pistol back onto its connector point. And then get this piece attached in, like so. And there we have supercharged sideburn. And now, so we'll go ahead and get a close-up view of that head sculpt. Now, I think this one does, even though it is all the same, I think the coloration of this one does make it out a little bit more difference to it. Again, the translucent pieces are completely clear this time and not colored in any way. So you can see both eyes painted in a bright metallic blue, as well as that silver face. Some really nice pearlescent white plastic, very nice painted red for the top of the head. And no matter how I can get it, the glare is always going to be blocking off his eye. So there's that. And now get him side by side with the standard version of sideburn. And as you can see, all the similarities and differences. Just overall a lot more of a brighter, more explosive color scheme that really does bring the characterization, like this color scheme matches his characterization in the show. Like, he's a brash hothead in the show, and I would love the brash hothead to have a bright, exciting, warm color scheme. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the blue on the original sideburn, but it's just the red pops so much more, even though it's showing up on the viewfinder of my camera completely gross. It still does its job of being a bright, vibrant color to personify, and it's perfectly personified in this figure. Now, articulation, everything's all the same. We have the ball jointed head, as well as ball jointed shoulders, and a thigh or a bicep swivel, 90 degree or 180 degree bend out of the elbow. Same on this arm, but hampered with the kibble. Waist articulation, the waist can rotate 360 degrees, but actually, that was the first time I've had that issue with this one. I've never tried to turn the waist anything more than for the transformation. So apparently there's a little bit of some mold flash, or a little bit of some engineering that is preventing me to rotate it to the right. It can only rotate to the left. That's something new to learn. But anyways, ball jointed hips, the double jointed swivel hinge and ball joint in the knee due to transformation, and then ball jointed ankle for so quite frankly, the best posable figure out of the three, I believe. If that's how I characterized it on the original sideburn review, then that's what I'm going to stick with this one. Everything physically is the same except for the colors. So, now, accessories and playability. We do have the combo bumper and tailpipe missile launcher with a very strong missile in it, and does have two pegs that it can hold on to in in the hand. We could hold it like a gun, or we could hold it like a sword with a very high up crossguard. And then the dagger pistol can just unpeg off the back. And also plug into either hand off of 2 pegs, so it could be held as a gun or a dagger. So we'll go ahead and do that on this one. So, now that I've actually taken an individual look at all 3 of them supercharged, we'll go ahead and bring out the 2 others so we can get a group shot of them here real quick. There we go. So, as I've mentioned before with the other 2 reviews, like, I really like Sideburns' toy. It's a really fun toy. Whether or not you should pick one up is based entirely on personal preference of how you feel about recolors. Me personally, this was my favorite line, so I wanted to get everything out of this line that I could, and or that was at least featured in the cartoon. So that being said, I had to pick up these 3. I'm really not a big fan of supercharged recolors, but then again, I pretty much collect supercharged recolors because it happens in the show. Looking at you, my next review. But that being said, either version of either of these color schemes, will grant you a great figure to play with. Lots of posability, lots of fun playability options. So take that as you will, that these things are actually a lot of fun. And if you want to just get one set of the 2, it's just down on personal preference on which color scheme you like better. And that just about does it for this video review. Don't want to go too far into rambling, but like I said, Sideburn is great. All 3 of these are great in either colors, so if you can find either color for a good price, I do recommend picking it up. But anyways, this has been Retro Reviews. I hope you guys like this video review, and I will see you next time. Bye.